Hello, and thank you so much for joining us today for the Maximizing the Case Counted Produce Subscription webinar. My name is Katie Bull. I'm an Agency Relations Account Specialist, and it looks like we have some familiar folks on the line today, so welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. Later on in the webinar, we also will have two guests sharing with us, Roger Rasky from Pipestone County Food Shelf and Lori Woodard from Lutheran Social Service Portland House in Minneapolis. To start out, I just wanted to share some basic information about the webinar. All your lines are muted as usual, and so you don't need to worry about background noise. If you'd like to ask any questions as we go through the webinar, and we definitely encourage you to do so, you can do that by chatting in a question in the questions box that is in your control panel to the right of your screen. Or you can also raise your hand. You'll see a hand icon in that control panel. You can raise your hand and I will unmute your line and then you can ask your question out loud. So feel free to ask questions as we go or save them up to the end, whatever works best for you. Just a quick review of our agenda for this half-hour webinar. We're going to review what the case counted produce subscription is and just go through some of the details of that. Then we'll talk through a few scenarios of what orders could look like on the subscription, so what you might expect to get with this produce subscription. We'll talk a little bit more about amounts and then utilizing produce, and that's when we will have our guests share more about what they are doing with their programs and how they are using produce. Okay, so to get us started, I wanted you just to think briefly about your own produce experiences. So thinking about yourself as an individual, not as a food shelf volunteer or manager. Think about how often do you buy fresh fruits and vegetables? And where are you getting those? Does the way you get produce change at all from season to season? Have you ever had a certain kind of fruit or vegetable available in abundance? And what did you end up doing in that case? So I just want you to think a little bit about that. And if anybody has anything specific they'd like to share about any produce experiences or things that have just maybe occurred to you about your own produce utilization, feel free to chat that in or raise your hand. We've got one here, an experience of having artichokes sold by the bag for 25 cents a bag in California way back when. And now in the grocery store you see them for quite expensive, not quite like that. So I just wanted to get you thinking a little bit more about how you as an individual use produce and how our society in general utilizes produce, how we're accessing it, how we approach produce in general. So just kind of keep that in mind as we think and as we go through the webinar today. And actually, Second Harvest has been thinking more about this as well. How does society in general utilize produce, and how can we help use that knowledge to inform the way that we get produce out to our partner agencies? And so last year was the first year that we offered a case-counted subscription of produce. We offered levels of just 1 and 3 cases of each type of variety. And this year we have increased it to 1, 3, 5, or 8. And really we've done this because we want to provide the right size of produce, the right pack size, the right variety for you, and also that accessibility for your program to get produce so you can get that out to your clients. Okay, So just talking about the case counted subscription in general. The best thing about the case counted subscription is it is farm fresh. During the Minnesota growing season, we at Second Harvest have a full team that is sourcing produce from Minnesota growers. There is money from the Minnesota legislature that actually reimburses growers for the costs of harvesting this crop. And previously, they were just a lot of them were plowing these crops under because they didn't want to spend the money to harvest it. So having that money provided for the cost of actually doing that allows them then to donate to food banks and allows us to get that to you. A lot of times the turnaround on this food is very quick. It may be coming into our warehouse, our distribution center on a Monday, and then going out on your order on a Tuesday. And so this food is going to be really high quality, and it's going to last for quite a while if you store it properly. As I mentioned, we have 1, 3, 5, or 8 case subscriptions of each type of produce we have in stock. And so you sign up to receive that produce with every order that you are getting from Second Harvest. The cases are 30 to 40 pounds each, and the cost is 4 cents per pound. The total number of cases will depend on the variety available, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in detail as we get a little bit further along in the webinar. And as I mentioned, it's available for the growing season, and it is added on to your standard order with no additional delivery fee. What that does mean is that if you don't place an order, the case counted subscription will not be added on. It is an add-on, and so it's only triggered by having an order in the system that we can put that produce onto as well. So this chart, if you've participated in any of our previous produce webinars, you may have seen this chart before. This is just a graphical representation of the different varieties that we anticipate to have available throughout the growing season. This is based on what we received last growing season, and so it definitely can change depending on the weather and what growers are growing, but it gives you a good sense of a couple things. The first is really the bell curve here of our produce season. So as you can see, it starts out with 1 or 2 varieties in early July, and then as we get into September, we're seeing many, many more varieties available. Also, the total poundage is going up by quite a bit. And so that, again, was part of the idea behind crafting this case-counted produce subscription, is that we have a lot more varieties available in August and September. And so instead of sending you the same number of cases and possibly inundating you with one certain item of produce, we are ramping up the total number of cases as we have more varieties to send out. So you're increasing the number of cases you get, but you're also increasing the variety. Okay, and a little bit more about cases here. So I wanted to share just some pictures of some of the cases that we've had. You see the sweet corn here, carrots, and then a pallet of cases of parsley there. Our cases are approximately 30 to 40 pounds. Some of these items we're actually putting into cases. Others are coming straight from the grower like that, and so you may see different sizes of cases and a little bit different makeup of a pallet. On average, about 30 cases make up a pallet. So you can think about that as you think about the overall number of cases that you may be getting on your subscription. And if you prefer to think about things in terms of pallets, that's a helpful number to keep in mind. And as I mentioned, we also, in addition to just putting things in cases, we also will repack some items. So as you see here, the carrots have been repacked into mesh bags, and so typically those are repacked into 5-pound bags. You can certainly open those up and rebag them, but it also provides an easy option for just giving a client that 5-pound bag there. So now I want to talk through a few scenarios of what this could look like for different programs as far as what you are actually receiving. And so this first scenario here, this is a case of a program where it's getting weekly orders and they've signed up for a 1-case subscription. And so as you can see, starting in July, we're talking about more like 3 cases, and for example, some of the varieties you could get might be cabbage, zucchini, and cucumber. As we get further into August, you see it ramps up to more like 4 cases. The options are changing slightly. We do not know exactly what will be case counted and what will be available by the case, but that anticipated growing chart and as well the Minnesota grown information on when certain items are at peak season, that'll really help you anticipate what you may be getting during these different times. So these varieties on here, the varieties listed, this is not a guarantee of what you'll be getting. This is really just an example of what could come on one of these deliveries. So then you see as we get into September, there are more cases available of each variety, and then going back down to more like 3 cases as we get later into October. And so if you look at the bottom, then you'll see the total number of pounds, approximate pounds based on that 40-pound cases that you'd be getting with each of these deliveries. The next example I have here is also weekly order. So you're placing an order, getting a delivery on a weekly basis, 3-case subscription. But in this case, the program has placed a 3-variety limit on the subscription. And so you can see what that effectively does is it means that you're getting the same number of cases throughout the season. So some programs really like the idea of being able to ramp up the total number of cases as the season goes on. Others really just want to keep it consistent throughout the growing season, and so a way of doing that is to limit that number of varieties. So what we actually pick for those varieties when we have more than 3 varieties really just depends on what's available. And so it's not that you're going to get the same varieties all the time. We'll try to pick from different areas, different products. But as you can see here in this example, just showing, you know, the week of August 31st, maybe you're getting corn, tomatoes, and potatoes. And then the next week you're getting tomatoes, potatoes, and apples. So really we're just picking 3 of those varieties and sending you 3 cases of each. And so then again, as you see, we've got a consistent total amount of pounds that you're getting each week as well. So here's an example of a program that is getting orders maybe on a first and third Wednesday, for example. So programs that are in greater Minnesota or Wisconsin typically have a smaller ordering delivery window, and so are able to get orders maybe every other week. Some programs are choosing to get them monthly. Some programs may be getting them more often. So this is an example of a program that's getting those two deliveries per month and is signed up for a 5-case subscription. And so as you can see, those weeks where there's no other order, there's nothing coming from the subscription. We need that order in the system to trigger that add-on subscription. But then this one's not limited, and so the weeks that they are getting produce, you can see it's a 5-case subscription. So when we have 3 varieties, that's 15 cases, and then it's ramping up to about 25 cases at the most. Any questions at this point? And again, feel free to chat in anything that you have any questions about as we go along. Okay, so now I want to get into a little bit more about actually utilizing the case counted produce. A lot of the questions that we get around the case counted is, and produce in general, is how do I decide how much to give to each family? The first and most key thing with this is flexibility. You are going to need to be flexible. You may plan a certain amount that you're going to give to each household, and they decide they don't want that much. You may, not see as many clients as you thought you would. You may see more clients than you thought you would. So being flexible is key. With that in mind, I have mapped out some examples here of how you could divide out certain produce orders that could be, this case counted produce that you're getting, how you may divide that out between households. So in this scenario here, this program has received 5 cases. They're getting a 1-case subscription, and we're, say, right in the middle of September, and we have 5 different varieties available. So they're getting those 5 different cases here. And say we don't know, we are going to serve somewhere between 10 and 40 households. This maps out how you may want to divide that out. Of course, each produce item, each apple, each potato, we know how much those vary, and so this is definitely a estimation. Potatoes, if you're getting the smaller baby reds or something like that, it's definitely going to be a smaller weight than half a pound per potato. All of these items vary quite a lot. So keeping that in mind, say we have 20 households that are coming in, we could divide that by giving them 4 apples, 4 potatoes, 3 carrots, 3 yellow squash, and 4 onions, and that would be a total of about 10 pounds. And I will send these out afterwards so that you have access to them as well. Here's another example. So this is a 3-case subscription, 3 varieties, so they're getting 9 cases total. Included cantaloupe in here. Some of these are a little bit trickier. So 3 cases of cantaloupe, you're not quite going to have enough to serve a full 50 households. So keeping that in mind, whereas 3 cases of cucumber is going to be plenty of cucumber for 50 households. So some of these items are things that you're going to want to keep a little bit longer, and maybe some of them are going to move off the shelves right away and are more of that popular item. And here's another one, 4 different varieties, 5-case subscription with a little bit of larger households here. So we're getting 5 cases of each of these, 20 cases total. And so looking at up to 150 households, you could do about 6 pounds for that household. So just to put it in a little bit more context of what this actually looks like for the total amount you're going to give people, and then the amount per item. So again, with the variety, it's important to think about how much people actually would use. What kind of poundage are you picking up at the grocery store? Do you typically buy 3 ears of corn, or are you usually buying more like a dozen? Do you buy 3 apples, or do you buy a dozen apples? So thinking about that and realizing that there is a lot of flexibility in that, and that, maybe you could give a household a dozen apples, but they also will be very happy to get 3. So a few other quick things here before I turn it over to our guests on here. When you're thinking about getting it to your clients, again, keep in mind it's farm fresh, it's long lasting. You can incorporate this into your food shelf service and be able to give fresh produce along with that regular service when folks are coming in to shop. The other thing is that often we'll hear people say that households are limited by the total weight of what they can take. One way to encourage produce is to say that it doesn't count towards their total weight. So maybe they can take 20 pounds, but that doesn't include the fresh produce. That just includes the canned goods and the meat and dairy and things like that. So really incentivizing it for them. Thinking about it, this is a good price product for you as well. It costs a lot less than a can of tuna. So It's a good deal for you too if you can get your clients to stock up on more produce. Putting produce front and center. Let them fill up their carts right away. This produce is going to be beautiful, and encourage them to take things and try things that they haven't had before. But let them fill up their carts and start thinking about their meal with that produce. That's how I plan my meals. That's how a lot of us plan our meals. What am I going to make for dinner? Okay, what do I have fresh? What do I have that I need to use? And then we start putting the other pieces together. So you can structure it like that for your clients as well. And then another idea is having like a mini farmer's market and actually, advertising a separate event for clients to come through. It could be a really good way for new clients to come in and to kind of make yourself more visible in the community. Okay, so with that, I am going to go ahead and turn it over to our guests here. So first of all, I would like to introduce Roger Raske. Roger is the director of the Pipestone County Food Shelf. And for those of you who don't know, Pipestone is down in the southwest corner of Minnesota. So Roger's going to share a little bit about how Pipestone utilizes produce and gets produce out to their clients, and also just share a little bit more about Pipestone County Food Shelf in general.
Okay, thank you, Katie. Good afternoon, everybody. My name again is Roger Raske. I'm with the Pipestone County Food Shelf in Pipestone. For those of you that don't know where Pipestone's at, we're in the extreme southwest corner of Minnesota, bordering South Dakota on our west, and Iowa's about 20 miles to our south. Our food shelf is open 1 day a week. We serve approximately 50 households a week, consisting of about 175 individuals. During the past 5 years, we've seen a 65% increase in the number of households served. We've doubled the number of individuals served, and the amount of pounds of food distributed has gone up by 140%. A lot of that is due to the fact that we moved our location at the end of 2012, and it may be a little bit more convenient for some of our downtown people to get to us. We began produce distribution in the early part of 2013 with case-counted food rescue products. At that time, food shelves were able to order food rescue produce by the case as well as by the pallet. We started, since this was a new endeavor for us, we started with 6 cases, about 240 pounds of produce, and we were consistently unable to distribute the product. Clients were either unable to identify the items, believe it or not, or they didn't have any knowledge of how to prepare them. After several deliveries and unsuccessful results, our local county extension agent volunteered to help introduce our clients to produce, explaining each of the items that were available and actually how to prepare them. She also came in probably twice a month with recipes and food that had been prepared. So she would give each client that came in samples, recipes. She'd talk to everybody, go over what was available that day, and it did help our distribution a lot. As clients became more familiar with the produce, we began to increase our order quantities, eventually increasing our semi-monthly order to a pallet each delivery. That usually has been running about 1,000 pounds, give or take a little bit. We now distribute 1 pallet of food rescue produce each delivery day. And we get our delivery the same day that we distribute food, so nothing is going to waste, really. At the suggestion of our Shar Graff, who's our agency and relation account specialist, we currently have a standing order for 1 pallet of the food rescue produce and 1 pallet of the Walmart distribution center produce. And that's been working out pretty good. We actually distribute all of that on the day it's distributed or received. Last summer, we signed up for 3 cases each of the case-counted produce. That went extremely well. The produce proved to be of excellent quality. Clients liked it. It was distributed very quickly. We never had a lot of carryover from week to week. This year, we've increased the quantity to 5 cases, and we expect to have the same results. Our client volume continues to go up. We're up about 15% already this year, year over year. So we're expecting good results with 5 cases of the produce. We're also looking at additional ways to get more produce into our clients' hands, whether that's allowing clients to come in more than once a month or doing a mass distribution. It's something that we're going to have to look at and work out possibly with the local farmers market here in town. But that's what we're doing here at Pipestone.
Great. Thank you so much, Roger. And we'll go ahead and have Lori share, and then if there's any questions for either Roger or Lori, we can bring those up at the end. So next up is Lori Woodard. Lori is with the Lutheran Social Services Portland House in Minneapolis. So go ahead, Lori.
Hi. Yes, we're right in the heart of Minneapolis, right outside of downtown. And we have a little bit different program here. We have 25 guys who live in the house who are in transitional living. So they're just starting to work a job, budget, get reunited with their family, learn parenting skills. And so all of our meals are served here on site. And they are cooked and prepared by a certified cook Monday through Friday, and then prepped. And then the clients help provide or help cook or assist on Saturdays and Sundays. So I don't have to worry about clients coming in to get the food or how much. We always have about 25 guys in the house, and we have about 6 living out in the community that can come back and access meals if they need to. So we're cooking for 25 to 30 people Monday through Sunday. And we usually get 1 box because we have, refrigerator space and freezer space concerns. And getting 1 box, so that means that we usually get about 3 to 5 cases at a time, and we order every other week. And that allows us enough room in our refrigerator to keep everything fresh, and still gives us enough food to last until the next delivery date. And what we've done, there's a couple of things that kind of come up or have come up when we first started. One was that we didn't always know how to use zucchini in meal to cook for 25, especially when we have a lot of ready-made meals coming in. So we found some SNAP educators through the U of M, and they come in every quarter, and they do a nutrition and cooking class with a handful of our guys, at least 6 to 8 at a time, and they teach them how to use some of the seasonal produce that's coming in, how to be healthier, make healthier choices, cook for their families, cook for their kids, and incorporate some of these seasonal vegetables and fruits into their cooking and their daily lives. So that's SNAP educators. MFIB educators are similar. And there's plenty out there in most communities that have a lot of SNAP and MFIB. The educators will come out and actually educate the public on how to use fresher fruits and vegetables and just live a healthier lifestyle, which was our goal when we signed up for the counted produce in the first place. The other thing is that, the saying, 1 apple can ruin the whole bunch, or 1 rotten apple can ruin the whole bunch. Presentation is really important here because we're not packaging it and sending it home for families for them to clean up and use how they want to. Having it out, having it clean, removing anything that has rotted or is going to rot, maybe using some of the things that are, not quite ripe yet, setting those off to the side and using the ones that are ripe at the time they're ripe so that they don't spoil is important for getting through it and using the produce effectively or efficiently. When we put it out, when we display it nicely, clean it up, put it out, take out any that are severely bruised or rotten, they go through the fruits and vegetables a lot more than if we were to just keep it in the case and not have it out for people to see, like, yeah, there's granola bars, or there's candy bars, and there's pop, or there's fresh apples. having the fresh apples out rather than all buried in a case is more important for healthy eating. Let's see, and the other thing is communication that I've noticed. Having good communication between people who are ordering the cases and the people who are using the cases is important. If I go to our SNAP educator and say, oh, okay, we have a case of zucchini that came in. I was wondering, could you use that in a recipe next week so you could teach the guys how to cook this zucchini, how to store it, and just teach them that it actually does taste good. It tastes just as good as the microwave chicken nuggets, or better. Having that communication with people who are actually using it and having recipes and having them experience cooking it, tasting it, seasoning it, storing it, what it's supposed to look like, how it's supposed to cook up, how it's supposed to be eaten, then that helps people make fresher choices and healthier choices as well. Let's see, I think that is, I'm trying to think if I covered everything. We serve 3 meals a day. I think I did say that. We make sure that there's at least 2 snacks available for everyone, so 3 meals and 2 snacks for up to 30 people every day. It's kind of what we do here. Everybody eats on site. We don't send any home with anyone. The guys actually live here. Let's see, I think that's it for Portland House. It's not a food shelf, so we're a little bit different.
Great. Thank you so much, Lori. So I appreciate having the 2 different perspectives of the food shelf and the meal program. And both Lori and Roger brought up some really important points here. And so I want to thank both of you so much for sharing this information. Are there any questions? Does anybody have any questions either for Roger or Lori or just in general about the case counted subscription? And while you think, and if anybody's typing anything in, I just wanted to share that we do still have a few other events coming up related to produce. And so we are offering a couple different teaching tours here so that folks can actually see some of our food shelf and meal program partners utilizing produce in action. And so Paynesville Community Emergency Services in Minneapolis, and then the Union Gospel Mission shelter in St. Paul. So, and then we also throughout the summer will be doing some produce check-ins the second Mondays in July, just to hear about what's going on and any updates that we have for you about product or any feedback that you'd like to give back to us. So if there are any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or to your account specialist, and I'll be sending out a follow-up email with details about all of these things and also the PowerPoint information. So thank you again, and I hope everybody enjoys this beautiful Tuesday.